Hello everybody, I'm back again. It's been a while. I hope the sound is going to be okay. I really wanted to do this outside and I've no microphone, so let's just go with it. It's going to be imperfect. But yeah, so the last episode was all about my dating addiction. So I want to kind of lead on from that because it's the whole journey that I'm on, including the things that I'm moving through today. It's all relevant to this journey that started off when I was feeling unworthy, unlovable, looking for validation, when I was moving through grief and loss and that loneliness, talking about my dating addiction in Morocco. And after that, I wanted to tell you about the gift that I received while I was in Morocco. After I went through that really confronting and uncomfortable experience that I had to go through to click me back into reality, to make me be like, Ellen, what the fuck are you actually doing? Why are you putting yourself in these situations? It was a huge wake-up call. I deleted Tinder and I started to try and retrain my mind, and for days I just sat in my grief of whoa, I really am that lonely and needing that validation so much that I would put myself in an uncomfortable situation. So yeah, just feeling the grief and the sadness for myself, but also when I sit with these parts of myself, I'm trying to get to the root cause of when I first began to believe this story. What happened in my life to make me start believing these things? Through different means of, body work, yoga, meditation, journaling, about these feelings and what, the situation was mirroring in me. You start to slowly piece things together in the past that has led you to this point. Everywhere I go and anytime I'm feeling low, I've always been gifted with another person that comes into my life to really hold me, and it's really interesting. They all seem to be men, so it's again healing this part in me that maybe believed that there wasn't men that could hold me or show up for me in this way, or be in their feminine, or listen, or just nourish me like I needed to be held. It's not what I thought I needed. And it's who in these moments we try to convince ourselves of what we need, and this is also a reprogramming or a conditioning thing. It's okay, I'm after getting myself in this situation now, so I need to be really rigid and not date anyone else for a while. And it's why do I, again, trying to retrain yourself from a place of isolation when everything in this world is love? So it's why can't I move through this but also be held by another beautiful person? So I met one of my good friends. We were the only two people in the hostel, and he really showed up for me in that time of feeling super low. I knew at that point I was done with South Morocco. I needed the mountains. I needed trees to regulate my nervous system. So at that point, I did feel like time alone was what my soul was calling in. I ended up going to the north of Morocco, and I spent 2 weeks in the mountains, just working, connecting to the land, again processing, unraveling. 2 weeks in Morocco unfolded, and then suddenly I felt a call in my heart, in my soul, that I'm ready to socialize again, meet new people. So I was volunteering in a place overlooking Chefchaouen, the blue city in Morocco. So I was in a valley, so I had to hike down into the town, and I was time to explore. I've just been living amongst 4, maybe 3 people for the last 2 weeks, all Moroccan workers, and one beautiful Australian girl. How could I forget her? Straight away, when you come into contact with people, there's so much learning there. It's how are you showing up in yourself when people are around? I noticed one of the toxic things that I used to do, and still do sometimes, if I'm having a low day and I'm looking for some external happiness or ecstasy, like natural high. Notice, stare into people's eyes like strangers. You're like staring at them to seeing if they're seeing you, and seeing what rush that gives you. So I was just witnessing myself, knowing that this is something that I had done for a lot of the previous weeks. So it took me, I don't know how long, but a while to retrain that. And it was like a full cut-off point. I was like, I just can't look at people. And I remember saying this to my sister, and she thought it was so dramatic. And I was like, this is what I have to do, like, until it's trained in my mind. If I look at people, it's not for anything, only just like you're passing them. Because yeah, for a while and like in that period in south of Morocco, I was looking at people to see if they were seeing me, and like their reaction would give me a high. And I know I'm not the only one who does this, and we do this also isn't, so I say it was a toxic thing that I did because that was toxic for me and what I was already moving through. That still happens now. Like yesterday I was so alive on the beach, and I was staring at everyone and giving them a big smile, because like that was my energy and I wanted to share that. So it depends on what place you're coming from, you know. But at that point I was coming from a place of like, do you think I'm sexy? Do you give me a certain look, a certain eye? Yeah, you do. And then that would fill my cup, like, for that hot moment. So genuinely, it was like something that I really had to be aware of and come back into presence every time. It's like, I see a handsome man, no, I'm gonna walk past them and look somewhere else. And like consciously doing that and retraining my mind to do that. And that could have taken like a few weeks, I can't fully remember, to get to the point where I just not even thinking about staring at people for that purpose, amongst all the other things that I was doing to come back into unconditional love, where I'm not even thinking about anyone else other than myself, do you know? But anyway, on this particular day I bumped into an artist on the street, and honestly our first 2 or 3 interactions weren't very special. So this is what I find as well, like sometimes we think when we meet our soulmates or we meet certain people, it's like this big like boom fireworks at the start. Like I met this person and it was okay, and then we went for coffee, and bear in mind I went down to make friends, and not from a place that I was in before. At this point I had like made a lot of realizations and spent like 3 weeks coming back into myself. And when I went down I wasn't looking for anything other than just to socialize with people. And the thing is, in these countries you don't really befriend women unless you're meeting them in hostel or like they're already travelers. So a lot of my friends anyway have been men. So going back to the fact that there's no fireworks or whatever, so we met for coffee, and we met, there was a festival happening the next day, so we said we'd hang out at the festival, and honestly it was pretty shit. I was like, okay, yeah, I don't want to hang out with you again. Like, I just left anyway after like 30 minutes. I was like, okay, bye. And then like an hour later he came back around. He was like, sorry, I was so hungry, it made me really like less talkative, but now let's go for a coffee. So I had been really calling in music and all these things. So he ended up being like this incredible musician that brought me to this amazing place with amazing music that night, and we connected so much. And he was, I think, my first soulmate. And when I say soulmate, I believe we've many soulmates, people that you're destined to meet, that you connect on this crazy level, and like you can see the universe literally moving things around, things that like I would tell you that you wouldn't even believe, like otherworldly things was happening. And I don't know if this has ever happened in connections I've had before, where you can literally witness otherworldly things happening when you're with this person. So he was such a gift, like the perfect balance of the masculine and the feminine, so creative, artistic and flowy, but also so in tune with his emotions, really soft and gentle, but also really organized and productive and strong and like spontaneous and adventurous, and like would organize all these things. Like I had never experienced being in the company of a man like that and being held and cared for, and being really seen, like seen on all levels, like for my psychic gifts, for my my spiritual side, my emotional side. I'd never been seen and fully understood. Like I would tell him things that were happening to me to prove that we were meant to come into union, and like thinking that maybe he wouldn't believe me, and like he just believed me and he'd seen me and he'd understand. So when you have that connection with someone, your world just cracks open even more. It's like, whoa, connections like this exist, you know, you can actually have it all, you know. And that's as much as I can say. Like he was one of the biggest gifts I've ever experienced in my life, and just giving me this unconditional love. And our gift was, and I guess the reason why this was so potent is because he gave me everything and showed me everything that I was manifesting in a man. And when you meet those dark parts, those uncomfortable parts that are making you lonely, jealous, not love yourself, feel like you're unworthy, when you finally step into a place of embodiment and feel and know that you're worthy, you receive like this gift from God. It's like, here you go, I see the work that you're doing now. Here's exactly what you're looking for. Keep going, keep working. And what was also so powerful about this was his gift was presence. So at no point was there like, oh my God, what are we? Do we have feelings for each other? It was like, come back into presence. What do we want in this moment? And never talked about future or whatever, which completely takes away from this fear of abandonment, these like attachment, unhealthy attachment or anxious attachment, because you're not like, oh my God, what if I lose you? Like, what if you have something else with someone else? It's like, can I just enjoy this gift for what it is right fucking now? Do you know what I mean? And living in that state for 3 or 4 weeks, you learn so much about presence and so much about how you open yourself up to unconditional love when you know that everything is temporary, you know, and how you give and worship this man. So like, can you worship and show up in unconditional love and pure devotion for this man who fucking deserves it, who deserves to be bowed down to? This wild journey of like pure liberation and empowerment, and like coming into full fucking union with a masculine, and that in itself was so healing. And it really showed me like, wow, like we can really have it all without all of the questions and the worries and the fear and the about future, but also about self. It's like at no point did I doubt his, not even gonna say his love, because there was love between us, but we weren't in love. Do you know what I mean? It was like, at no point did I doubt him being in my life, because he just showed up in every way. So that was like the biggest gift. And like, when you're on the journey of like intentionally stepping into the darkness and sitting with your shit and like calling in the ugly and the chaos, because your intention is to evolve and grow as a human being, do that work. And it's all super, super uncomfortable, and like at some points you're like, oh my God, what the fuck? But then you are always straight away, like even in those situations when you're in the dirt, like trying to like get yourself through, there's always gifts there to like guide you. And then when you pass that test, there's like this huge gift that it's like, yeah, here you go, well done, enjoy this now, enjoy this, you deserve this. And then your life is expansive, your energy is high, and your manifestations come true like quick. And then maybe it's time to be faced with another test. So I feel like this is what my whole traveling journey has been. So that takes me to when I left Morocco and went to Portugal. Although all this experience happened, you're still not perfect. You're like, I still didn't fix all of the things that were triggering me or showing up in my life, but you never really know that until it shows up again. And that's the thing about living in presence. You just enjoy, you meet the shit when it's there, and then you enjoy the gifts when they're there, and like you enjoy them like full heart open, because you know that life is a series of ups and downs. So he's still very much in my life. Like, what a beautiful gift of a man. Yeah, and at one point, like, do you know, we have a long distance friendship, and we obviously had feelings for each other, but it was never like pressure, like we need to figure anything out. It was like presence. We're not together right now, and that's how it's supposed to be. And that's not to say we ever will be together either. Like, I don't even feel like that about him. But it's like, there was a moment where I think I was in Portugal and I did really miss him. And he was like, Ellen, I will show up as your father, your brother, like your lover, whatever you need me to be, I am there. And I was like, whoa. Like, that is the epitome of like selflessness, unconditional love, being able to like witness your own discomfort, but like not attach yourself to the darkness of it, or like the loss, or like the clinging. It's like when you come into union with someone and you can meet each other at that, that place of unconditional love, things are just fucking wild. I'm gonna continue on the journey, because that doesn't end this like crazy journey that I was on with needing validation and still getting attached to guys and being in this fantasy land. I lived in community in Portugal, and when you're living in community, it's a constant mirror showing you everything about yourself again. Like, you're living in a tight knit of people with already open, free spirits, but also with really lost people. Do you know what I mean? People that are looking for a new way of living. And those 5 weeks were some of the best weeks of my life, but also the most challenging. Like, one of the biggest tests in the first 6 months of my travels was communication. Communication was at the core of everything, where I was avoiding it, where I wasn't communicating with my full truth. Mainly where I was avoiding it, honestly. And like, communication is one of my strong points, but it was been shown where I was avoiding it for many reasons. One being fear of confrontation. These like uncomfortable conversations I was avoiding because of my deep-rooted fear of abandonment and confrontation that like stems back to many lifetimes, and also childhood as well. The fear of getting in like one single argument and that person would abandon me, banish me, basically. And that's going back lifetimes, like this feeling of being banished or like dragged away from community, essentially, for not doing anything wrong also. So that was really, really showing up in community. And I mean, it started to show up hand in hand with this whole topic of fantasy land and like lacking in my masculine essentially, and like needing validation and all this stuff. I just voice my needs and voice my desires, and if I was rejected, okay, like that's a gift for me also. So yeah, again, I won't even go into detail, but there was another guy in community in Portugal. In fairness, this guy was also flirting with me, so I'm not like completely pulling it out of my ass either, but like similar things started to happen where eventually like the whole day starts to revolve around trying to like come into contact with that person. Like a lot of fantasy, a lot of scenario, a lot of overthinking the conversations we had, and like trying to understand, was there something in that, like what did that mean, like is he flirting with me, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, 2 or 3 weeks it was pretty chill, and then week 4 I just couldn't get it out of my head, this parasite again. It was like taking over my entire day, and my mood was really being affected by this other person's energy, or like how they were showing up or not showing up, or I was just too attached to spending time with this person, or trying to find pockets of time, or even moments alone. And like, instead of it being organic, things became way too rigid and structured and forced for me. And it's, of course, I'm recognizing all these things. I'm like, oh my god, how am I back here again? Do you know what I mean? I witnessed myself again, maybe 2 or 3 days of spiral about this guy that I was fantasizing about. I knew straight away that I just had to like step into that again and just voice my desires, and not even desires, but like just ask him, is there a vibe between us? And if not, it's all good, because we were good friends anyway. And he said there wasn't, and from there again I could let it go. It was like this beautiful rejection therapy that I got over. But still, I was very aware of the fact that I needed help. I genuinely, no matter all the yoga, all the breathwork, all the journaling, I had no idea how to let go of this fantasy, how to like, yeah, stop these attachments. I really just didn't know how to do this on my own. And it was at that point, that was like that was August, and at that point it dawned on me why I had been drawn to Burn the Script, Lucy Pods' retreat. The February before, I had been energetically drawn to it. I had no idea why, because there was no information given about the retreat, and she does that intentionally. Like, it's anyone there is like energetically drawn, like they're meant to be there. So I signed up for that in February, invested a lot of money into this, and yeah, I didn't know why. Only March, April, May, June, July, August, only 6 months later, 6 weeks before the retreat or less, it dawned on me, and it became very fucking obvious as to why I had to be in that retreat. But also, in the meantime, I shaved my head, and what that did, that changed my fucking life, guys. I used to look in the mirror most days probably, and like look at my body, like suffer with body dysmorphia, like would always be picking things out like that I didn't like, or do you know, it's like these small little comments you don't even notice that you're doing, but you just look in the mirror and even just like give yourself a look, and it's like, you know, it's that look that gets embedded in your nervous system that causes these stories to embed over the years. Do you know what I mean? But when I shaved my head because of my psoriasis, something completely unrelated happened, where all my hair was gone and I could finally just see me. I seen into my own soul. I was looking at my eyes, my face, and I had this feeling. I was like, oh my god, how have I never seen myself like that before? To truly see my beauty and how sexy I am. Like, and I say this to people and they're like, Ellen, for fuck's sake, like, how did you not see this before? Like, look at you. And I'm like, I have been told, people tell you, but you know yourself. When how someone else sees you is so different than how you see yourself. You embody these negative stories, you know. But from the day I shaved my head, my whole world changed. I suddenly started to see how physically beautiful I was. Because internally I know what a fucking wifey catch I am. But like the external matters also hugely, do you know? Like if you're going around thinking that people don't find you attractive, like that really affects your expression and your embodiment and your confidence. So yeah, when I shaved my head, something huge shifted in me, and that's when the things started to unravel with like this attachment thing. And then I went to the retreat in September, and again my whole fucking life changed. It was exactly what I needed, the exact guidance that I needed to deal with this exact wounds. And I mean, Lucy and Danielle and Bonnie and all the other facilitators and volunteers, they were everything. They planned nothing. Everything was intuitively guided, and I genuinely felt like the whole retreat was created just for me. I would have like a wound that was mirrored or appeared in the morning session, and then we come in the afternoon and there'd be a workshop about it. And it was like, whoa, like so divinely orchestrated, and like the gods, all of our angels and spirit guides were with us. It really helped me figure out or identify where the root cause of these things were coming from, because usually I'm very, very good with that, identifying the root cause, and from there you can like witness your inner child or like these things that like actually just need more love. But I couldn't identify where this was coming from. We worked a lot on the masculine, and I realized that I had been completely abandoning my masculine. At one point Bonnie said something so simple, but it related so much, and it was like, you are, I probably won't remember exactly. I don't think these were her exact words, but it was something like, you're the only man that you need. And it wasn't like in the sense that like, we don't need anybody else. It was like, we are all that we need, and anyone other than that is an added bonus. They add to our happiness, you know. And that's, it just like landed so deep, and I was like, whoa, yeah, there is a man inside me. So I am gonna be the man that I need, the only man that I need. And when I embody that man in me, what happens? The masculine being your sword, your spine, your stability, it's the thing that holds you strong, so you're not in this floaty fantasy, like overthinking, out of balance world. We did so many things to come back into the masculine. Like, needless to say, it helped me navigate the route of my feeling of lack in fantasy land, and my feeling of neediness validation, and like my feeling of deep unworthiness and feeling unlovable, and all these things. And it stemmed back to my first and second relationship, where, you know, we were young, we were like teenagers, like 13, 14, probably from 13 to like 19. I was in pretty shitty relationships. I love the guys now still, but I showed up terrible in those relationships also. So this is not a point the finger blaming game, but it really just showed me feeling replaceable, feeling unworthy, this constant being in comparison of other women, this fear of abandonment, one fight and everything's over, you know, like all of these things stemmed back for more than 10 years, and I was finally meeting them in Portugal. During these sessions, I was like feeling this, the pain, the anxiety, the fear, the anger. And when I could meet myself there and witness, that's where they're coming from. Do I resonate with that story anymore? No. You know where the story is coming from. You can see who you are now, and you can see the story that you're still holding, and it's like, I actually don't resonate with that story anymore. I don't believe that story anymore. And from like this evolved perspective, you can see how toxic and crazy all of those things were that happened. So like you can just send so much love and compassion to yourself and accept that, like, oh yeah, that was fucked up. I don't agree with any of that anymore. And from there, let it go. And that's super empowering and powerful to experience that level of darkness again that has been so stored and suppressed for many, many years, but at the same time still so alive. You're just carrying it along and thinking that this is something that we have to deal with, or this is a part of me that I can't let go of, when that's just not the truth at all. Like, it genuinely is our birthright to meet those places of ourselves, let them fucking go, to step into this empowered, embodied, alive version of ourselves, you know. You know, people look at me and ask me, they're like, Ellen, how do you think this way? How did you get here? And honestly, it was from being in the darkest places of myself, like being literally like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I need to do? Diving into the darkness and to the rejected part of ourselves. That's where I find the most liberation, the most empowerment, the most aliveness, because not only do you get to meet those parts of yourself and heal them, but there's something bigger than us also rewarding you for doing that also. So it's like, whoa, win-win situation. But yeah, wow guys, this is a long vlog. Yeah, I had to get that all out to take me to where I have been now, and the journey since being in India. Like, whoa. Okay, I think I might leave it there, you know. But I feel really alive. If you made it this far, thank you very much. Leave any comments, follow my Instagram at yoga.withellen. Lots of free resources, course that I'm about to launch, or I guess it's kind of launched. It's like my life's work, and everything that I navigate and bringing into this course, everything that I've learned from years and lifetimes, all about expression and embodiment and speaking your truth and connecting to your body. And to do any of that, it has to come from a safe, calm nervous system. But I always point here for nervous system, because nervous system for me, when I know it's out of balance, when I know it's dysregulated, it's like that gut feeling. I can literally feel my stomach clench, that sickness, that like uneasiness, and like it's clenched and my whole body is like, oh. So yeah, nervous system, when you come from a safe, expansive, open place in your body. Or if you feel drawn to work with me, I would love for you to reach out and do that. But yeah, we'll see you in the next episode.